This is google.ie, and we're just going to have a look at the inspect element feature of the Google Chrome browser. And this feature is also available in the Firefox and Opera browsers. And what it allows us to do is select an area of a web page and drill right down and see what the code is that created that part of the web page. So for instance, this button here, Google Search, let's use the element inspector to drill right down into the source code of the page and see what code was used to render this button. So if we right click here under Windows, your management area, if you're using a Mac or something, and we go to inspect element, the element inspector comes up. It's a lot of detail in here at first. There's a load of stuff going on, but we can see that straight away that on the left pane here is that one of the elements here is highlighted. So let's just scroll back up here to that, and we can see here it's highlighted a chunk of code here in the left pane, and this left pane is the source code of that document, google.ie, of that web page, and it's allowed us to drill right down to that button, Google Search. There's the code for that button, and you can see I'm just switching between these two windows in Windows here using Alt Tab. So you can see as well, if you look on the bottom bar here, you can see where this element appears in the page. So it's nested in all these other parent elements that go up the page like this. So we can jump right up to any of those by clicking here. So we're jumped sort of halfway into the middle of the document and go right up to the top HTML element, right up at the top of the document here. And similarly, you can navigate from this pane here. You can collapse all the elements in the document. So there we have just a doc type at the very top, HTML. So this is supposedly a HTML5 document. I doubt that very much. It doesn't look valid to me in many ways. I'd say if we ran this web page through the W3C validator, it would fail a lot of times. We'll have a look in a minute maybe. But you can see here, you can open up all the elements, and you have a basic web page here. You have your HTML, you have your head, you have your body, and you can drill down into every single element. You can see what each is doing. You can also see here there's a vast amount of data here about each of the elements here. So there's styles that are associated with a particular element, the computed style that the browser uses, there's inherited styles, etc. And then there's the properties of each of the elements. So if we go back down here to our button, where's it gone? We can go back out to the page and just inspect element to jump down into it again. There we go, we're back down into our button here. We can see that the button has all sorts of styles here. It's got inherited styles, various different things, input type equals button, submit, etc, etc. And interestingly, we can do things here. We can actually modify this attribute on the page if we wanted. And to illustrate that, let's just jump out here. Let's click this doc to main window, and we'll be able to jump back out and see the two screens at once. So we'll see here now with the element inspector open at the bottom and Google open at the top. So you can see let's inspect element here again, make sure we're on that button. We are, yeah, okay, so we'll go back in here. Now what about if we, yeah, you can see there now that's highlighted there as I roll over that. So here's we can roll over here, we can get to the search box. Let's go up here, let's see this element, what's this? There's input box. Okay, so what if we decide to delete node? There we go, that's deleted from the web page there now. There's google.ie with no search box. So you can do a lot of things here, and you can, if you're developing a web page, for instance, you could rapidly prototype a page by adding and subtracting elements from it and seeing exactly how they're going to look, particularly if it's a page is generated by a server-side script such as PHP or something. We could also say, we just go back to this button here, inspect element there, we'll jump back to the button. We could modify the attributes of this as well. So the name, the value rather here is Google Search. So let's change that to Moogle Search. There we go, now we have a Moogle Search button, and so on and so forth. So you can see that the element inspector, it's worth your while getting to know it because it's a very powerful feature of modern browsers.